Growing up necessarily involves a certain experience of loss and therefore of grief. And there's a healthy amount of this, if you like, that's implied in the development from being a child to being an adult. There's the loss of that carefreeness of childhood and the transition towards being responsible for your own care rather than entitled to the care of others. This is perhaps most poignant, at least I see it in clients in their late 20s, when they've got past the distraction of leaving home and university, college, starting a new life, etc. But it can recur at any point in life. And the child self, the sort of vestige of the child in you, is maybe more present for people whose childhood was in some way incomplete or adverse. They were not, as it were, transformed into adults by the transformative care of their parents. And the child part of them is sort of preserved in time and defended. Maybe it maintains a kind of split between a sort of functional, performative outer self and a more vulnerable, spontaneous, but somehow needy child self. And there's a lot of therapeutic value in allowing grief. There could be grief about the childhood you didn't actually have, the carefreeness that was never yours. Also grief about the adult you didn't become because of that childhood burden you might have had. This loss can't really be processed and moved beyond without some kind of grieving process. Childhood needs to be left behind by us. And often that's why people come to therapy, is because their childhood is still very present with them. And it needs now to be grieved so that the adult can be free of its sadness or its incompleteness.